Hi friends. So champions rarely talk. They just work hard and perform, and then the world actually talks about them. Hi friends, I'm Dr. Mayur Kulkarni. I'm your radiology faculty on Marrow, and I'm very happy and pleased to have a Marrow champion with me today. He's none other than Dr. Rahul De. Dr. Rahul has secured rank 9 in the INI-CET exam conducted in November 2022. I am very happy and pleased to welcome Dr. Rahul. Dr. Rahul, heartiest congratulations
Thank
and
you.
welcome to this particular session. How are you feeling right now?
So I'm elated as I can be. Whoever has scored single digit rank is obviously happy. So as I'm,
Tell me a little bit about yourself, Rahul. Where are you from? Where have you studied in your undergraduate course?
I'm from Dhanbad, Jharkhand, actually. I came to Calcutta for my UG preparations as well as my college education, which is in Medical College, Kolkata. Presently, I'm as appointed as a house staffship in critical care unit. So I'm currently pursuing there only.
Okay. So, Dr. Rahul, Marrow has been a part of your preparation for this particular exam. How has been your journey with Marrow been in this last few months of crucial months of preparation?
It was very detrimental to be short. Actually, it helped me in every step, be it any subject, be it any tough questions. The solutions were always there to help me identify my mistakes and also revisit them so that the recurring mistakes do not happen on the D day. So I would say yes, it has been very important in my uh, preparations as well as for the D day as well.
Okay. So, Dr. Rahul, coming to Marrow Q Bank, tell me how many questions or modules of the Marrow Q Bank you used to solve every day going ahead? What was the schedule that you used to follow going ahead with the Marrow question bank?
I had a very absurd solving pattern. I did not recall the exact number of modules I solved. I solved it before around Feb or March, around 600 or so modules or so. But in the last 5 months, I have been more focused on solving the custom modules, as you say,
Okay.
that can combine all the subjects as well as the specific exam patterns also. So I
Okay.
started my day actually by brushing the teeth and giving a warm up of around 50 questions or so. Means that
Oh,
can vary with
that's a very
person to
interesting
person.
way to start your day out, Dr. Rahul.
I'm relieved I do not have to do that again from now. So I began my day with a warm up of 50 questions. Then I actually gave a revision of the subjects. I generally gave my memory based subjects, that is micro, be it surgery, which has some more things to forget and volatile things, be it biochem. Then again around 12 or 1 p.m. I gave 1 hour or so to have a mixed bag questions of both the previous years as well as new set of questions that Maro can design and help me strengthen my concepts.
Okay.
So by around noon time, I would have solved around 150 questions. Means the exact
Okay.
number I'm not sure.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but after that, in the noon time, I used to do the community medicine also, which are actually more boring, just counterintuitive in some sort because you are generally feeling more sleep at the noon after the lunch. But I found it a better way because I couldn't give more time to the community medicines. So at around 5 or 6 p.m., I gave another 1 hour for the similar pattern, 50 questions of previous years and 50 questions of new sort of questions.
Okay.
So by around 6, I should have 6 p.m. in the evening, I would have solved around 250 questions or so. Since I'm telling you, this is the actually last month strategy I'm telling.
Okay.
Initially, the question numbers are very low, around
Okay.
20, 25 questions per module. I used to solve around 4 to 5. But in
Okay.
the end, these questions at the end of the day went around 400 or so
Okay.
questions or so. So that
Okay.
depends on personal. Means I used to forget these things very fast, so I had to rely on multiple revisions and multiple solvings so that I can improve my solving skills as well as making less mistakes as I go on towards the exam.
Right.
But after
So
the
I'm going to probe you a little bit specifically about your revision strategies, right? So, you mentioned PSM, right? Community medicine, and I can just recollect there's something called as a recommended daily allowance, of nutrients that is usually prescribed to in community medicine. What Dr. Rahul has just told you is what is the RDA of the number of MCQs you should solve when you get close to the exam. That was great, Dr. Rahul. Tell me, you mentioned something about volatile subjects,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Volatile topics. You used to forget them. So, what did you do specifically to deal with such topics or questions?
Means there can be different approaches. I adopted sticking to my notes actually. I didn't make any separate copy or so for the volatile topics. I believe because while reading the notes, you get a map of that copy where the things are, where you can go and look up things faster. So
Okay.
I used to read, say, biochemistry. I used to complete around, say, 7 days I gave for biochemistry. I
Okay.
used to recurrently read that for 1 hour for 7 days. In
Okay.
the last 3 months, I did so. So
Okay.
that by the end of your preparation, when you have 1 month left, you are pretty much aware of what is there in your copy and what is there which is very tricky or very difficult for you to memorize,
Okay.
especially those genetics and all part. There are certain things which are very tricky. I
Right.
felt that it's very tricky for me.
Right.
So by the end of 1 month, I knew what were my weak points and what were my strong points.
Okay.
Within 7 days, I believe that revising everything is a very good thing to do. By everything, I do not mean from A to Z. I mean the things which you have already marked while doing the multiple revisions, be it with your different colored pens or be it in a different way as you seem fit. I used to do it with a marker with a green pen also, so that I
Okay.
can recollect where the difficult parts are. So in the seven
Right.
days, I read the entire biochemistry 1 hour or so. Like that, I
Okay.
gave 1 hour for every volatile subject which I felt, be it
Okay.
PHM, be it optha, be it
This is the
medicine
last
board.
7 day countdown to the exam.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. In the last 7 days, I used to read every volatile thing at least 1 hour or so. One
Okay.
hour for every subject means
Okay.
whatever can be covered in that is all fine and good. I had to keep my mental stability in that point because as the exam nears, we have a tendency to overdo certain subjects and dissuade
Right.
or push some subjects behind. It
Right.
happened to me as well for Optha, which I prepared so well for my entire year. I couldn't revise it in the last 7 days. Questions did
Okay.
come in this need, but if
Okay.
you have revised pretty well and sincerely throughout the throughout the year or maybe 5 or 6 months for whatever the preparation duration may be.
Okay.
So I feel doing this way, doing 1 hour revisions for the volatile subjects helped me to recollect these things in the exam because
Right.
they did come, whatever I have marked. Not all, but most of the things I assumed will come did
Which
come.
otherwise, if you would not have revised it in the last 7 days, it would not have been possible to crack those MCQs correct, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I wouldn't have been able to recall those things because I have pretty weak memory to say the least,
Oh,
actually.
fantastic, fantastic. That is a really practical and really a remarkable strategy to revise these volatile topics in the last 1 week prior to the exam. Tell me, Dr. Rahul, did you use bookmarks from the question bank and did they help you going ahead in your preparation?
Initially, in my preparation, yes, I did rely on the bookmarks pretty well. But what happens as and when you are going towards the completion of the syllabus, whatever maybe
Okay,
80% or 90% syllabus you're covering,
okay,
you are ending up with so many of bookmarks that it becomes difficult for you to manage them in the last 1 month or 7 weeks. So
okay,
yes, in the initial period for building your concepts and when you are not confident about the things, it surely does help. But
right.
eventually, it all comes down to you, what you prefer in the last 7 days to be come in handy.
Okay, and you mentioned something about the custom modules in Marrow Q Bank. How did you use these custom modules? How would you use to, use them to solve MCQs in your day of preparation?
As one of my friends told, I actually didn't know it before. The more number of questions per module you give, the better set of questions that can be prepared. So
Okay,
initially in my preparation, I used to go with the basic 25 questions per module and whatever
okay,
number I can solve.
okay,
But towards the end, I saw that more medicine and surgery questions were coming in the module. So I
right.
increased the number to 50 or sometimes 100, sometimes,
Okay,
not
okay,
always.
okay,
Sometimes, but most of the times I did 50 questions per module at a go. Means you can do it in the question answer format or in the test series format, whatever feels like. But in the 7 days, it would be wise to do a question answer based format rather than test because you are running short of time and you want to give little time to the you have to give adequate time for the solving pattern and as well as the question
right.
solving activity. but you cannot
Right.
waste more than 1 hour at a sitting for the questions, whatever, maybe 50 or 100 in the case.
Okay. Right. And Dr. Rahul, one thing I specifically want to ask you is that uh, how do you think are the concepts getting cleared when you go through these Marrow question bank modules? Do you think getting these concepts cleared by putting in a little bit of time and effort beforehand itself really helps in these exams going ahead?
Yes, sir, definitely it helps because whatever source or whatever notes you might have prepared, there is always new things and new concepts coming up. Or maybe there are integrated questions which are in trend now,
Right.
which need you to be thorough with one topic as well as two others simultaneously to be able to reach to the correct answer. So
Right.
in that
Right.
case, I feel yes, the Marrow questions were right on track to help me achieve those things on the D-Day
Okay.
as well.
Okay. But another thing I find students usually crib about is the difficulty level of some of the Marrow tests and QBank modules. They say it's probably a little bit more difficult. Do you think it is really so, and do you think it actually helped you in your exam when you were thorough with all these sort of long, say, clinical scenario based questions, or say long stem questions? What do you think about these questions that you come across in Marrow tests and modules?
I found it to be helpful to me. Yes, while giving the GTs, I was also a bit frustrated that these questions are very long and these might never be asked. Yes, the questions will never come, maybe, but in the process of your giving the GTs, it prepares you to have a better handling of the question solving, what time to give to what questions and what to leave for the last, or maybe whatever the preparation strategy you adopt by the after giving many GTs, as I say. So
Okay.
because in the exams you never know what may come. You cannot say this is out of syllabus or some sort of
Right.
so. But
Right.
having a difficult set of questions for the GTs helps you have a better instinct on what to mark and when not to mark. That is more
Okay.
important because everything will not come from the notes. So that's
Right.
plain this, but maybe for you it might come. But for me, it was not entirely from the notes. But yes, my GTs helped me to have a better instinct on what to mark. So that's
Okay.
had my difference.
So the design of questions basically is to prepare you for the worst kind of exam that you could get, and also those last few tough questions which could actually be the differentiating ones between Dr. Rahul, who gets a rank of 9, right, and that those few questions probably would help you to get that little bit of extra score that would improve your rank going ahead. Right now, Dr. Rahul, how about grand tests? How many grand tests? When did you start appearing for these grand tests, basically?
Around 2 months into my preparation, I gave my first grand test for this
Okay.
serious preparation that I took for the last 5 months.
Did you think you
After
were
that,
adequately prepared when you gave your first grand test?
no, that I don't think I was even half prepared to give the grand test. But I had to give because it was just 4 months remaining for the exam, and I knew that more number of GTs I give, the better prospects I have in getting
Right.
a better rank at this.
Right.
So in the initial point, I guess you can begin with one test per 2 weeks or so. But
Okay.
I went straight on with one test per week right from the
Okay.
beginning because
Okay.
I knew because there was not much time, and even if I give one test per week, I will have 16 GTs to give. So that was in my mind. In the intervening 7 days, I used to revisit the GTs rather thoroughly, not
Okay.
just seeing the answers and getting happy with what is right and wrong, rather
Okay.
than truly testing myself whether what I have marked is actually what I was going to mark, or this was just a hunch or guess based on that.
Okay.
So I used to maintain a copy for my wrong or whatever I think was just a bit of luck for my this GT or whatever. So I
Okay.
used to revise that every around 11 to 12 p.m. at the night. Just I used to go through that copy because as and when you are approaching the exam, the copy gets thicker and thicker, and then the stress also builds up, and you cannot see what we have done. So seeing that over the period of 5 months or 4 months helps you to have a better instinct. Okay, this is what I have marked that time. Now I know the concept well. If it comes
Right.
again, I will be able to mark it. So
Right.
that's the idea behind it.
Right. So see, basically there's no ideal time to start giving a grand test, right? You need to start early, and earlier the better you start. That is what you're saying, Dr. Rahul, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The
Okay.
more number of GTs, so better.
Right, right, right. And what ranks you used to get in these grand tests that you used to give, and how did that rank improve going ahead in time? Does that rank correspond to what rank you've got today? What kind of ranks and scores performance did you have in these grand tests?
I used to score pretty within 100 range to be in the safe side.
Okay,
Sometimes in the last few months, I did cross the 40 barrier, which I considered to
okay,
my max peak. But in
okay,
the last INI-GT, which was scheduled in around October 31st or so, it was around
okay,
rank 12, which is
okay,
my best hit. So I didn't give any GTs in the last 10 or 14 days because I felt that was more of a time for me to recollect whatever I have done and see to it that I do not forget the volatile topics or make the same mistakes.
okay,
So
okay,
I guess it's more important that you do not give importance to the ranks on the Marrow GTs, rather the number of people who have given and what is your position with respect to that in a percentile basis would be a more appropriate
right.
way to access yourself.
Right, right. Fair enough. Uh, how would you recommend revising the grand test questions? I mean, you said you would maintain a book, right? Were there
Yes.
only your mistakes that you would look at in those particular books, or would you go into all those questions that were there in the GTs? How would you assess a GT after you have completed it?
Okay. I usually give my GTs on Sundays. It was fixed for
Okay,
me.
okay,
I knew in mind that the exam is going to be held on Sunday. So I
okay,
gave the exam on a Sunday, either in the 3 to 6 p.m. Or in the night time, 9 to 12 a.m. slot. Whatever means
okay,
it's up to you, whatever you choose. I try to maintain a uniformity in that so that I am better able to handle the situation then and there in the D-Day.
okay,
So after that, when the results come on the Monday, you do not get too happy about it or to get sad about it because sometimes the ranks do get pushed so back that you get demotivated, especially when you have had a duty day the day before your exams or so and so.
right,
So I used to study for around 30 minutes or so. Whatever can be done in the 30 minutes, I used to see whatever questions I can see from the past GT. Say
okay,
I can only do 30 questions or so or 10 questions or so, but I had to
okay,
do that in a well diligent or sincerely I had to do.
okay,
Means that included all the questions, not just the wrong and right,
okay,
included all those questions as I just said, the things which I used to mark on a hunch basis or just which were right on a luck basis. I used to mark those as well. I paid special importance to the new questions type of questions or the new information that I used to make
okay,
because I knew those weren't in my notes, but these might come because they are updates. So I
okay,
used a special pen or used a special marker of some sort to write those things in my copy, as
okay,
well as I made a list of whatever tables they are giving. Suppose they are giving about the appearance of a microorganism. There is a
okay,
table tab where there's a POI. So I found it better way to memorize or keep it in mind is to write it in some place, in a short place.
okay,
Similar to the pediatrics, the milestones part, which is I find it very difficult to memorize. So
okay,
I wrote it in one page itself, the entire
okay,
thing, be it
okay,
language, be it motor, gross motor, fine motor. And whenever at night I used to study for an hour, revisiting my mistakes, I just had a glance about the pediatric milestones. That way, by the end of your preparation, you might not exactly remember the milestone table, but you will have
okay.
a hunch of what was in 4 years, what was in 5 years. So you do not have an absolute memory of that, but recurrently seeing them helps you have a subconscious conditioning about it. Yes.
Okay, okay. And so, friends, it is not only important that you give GTs and give as many GTs as possible, but it's also important to spare some time after giving a GT and spend that time, invest that time in assessing that particular grant test, looking at important topics, new topics, your mistakes, and whatever new concepts that you learn from it. Dr. Rahul, I also heard you say about the INI-CET mock. Did you appear for the Marrow INI-CET mock, which was conducted just before the
Yes.
exam?
I, I
How did you
specifically
find
look.
that mock? How did you perform in that mock? What was your rank? And how did it help you, in the actual exam when you went into the exam on the D-Day?
I had a mixed bag of emotions with the INI GTs. Actually, I wasn't aware of the entire set of rules, though they are mentioned before the start of exam. So I had
Okay.
one instance where I gave the entire INI GT and I marked many questions for review, and they were as rule they were not considered. And when the results came, I got to know I had marked 40 for review. So at some point of time, you get to see through the mistakes. It was 2 months back when I got to know that you do not mark questions for review for INIS
Right.
specifically.
Right.
So like that, I specifically look for the INI GTs because
Right.
they had very long questions and many number of options to match or think about. So there was
Right.
time management is a bit of an issue there, as is
Okay.
on the D-Day as well, because you never know what is going to come. Like in my shift, I found the paper to be as lengthy that I could finish only 12 minutes before it.
Okay.
So most of the GTs, yes, they were right on track for me. But in few GTs, I found myself short of time that I could finish either on 2 minutes mark or 10 minutes mark or so. So
Okay.
that fear of not being able to complete your exam on time helps in the next GT, so that
Right.
you are better able to calculate when to and where to give the time. Because in
Right.
many instances, you find you have given time so much in one of the questions, which you have eventually not marked as well. So that is a wasted time. You have to avoid that. So that's the point of giving the IGTs.
Right, right. So basically, again, GTs, is not a part of the destination or judgment, basically, but it is a part of the process more, not only in the types of questions and topics that could be asked, but also in your preparation strategies, as Dr. Rahul has said, to cater to or plan your time management strategies on the day of the exam. These tests would also help you. Dr. Rahul, tell me a little bit about your revision schedule and planning. What did you do in the last, say, 1 month or last 15 days? Just before the exam?
Around 1 month before the exam, I was still in the planning phase of when to and where to give my timings. So I
Okay.
planned for two revisions around 1 month before the exam,
Okay.
which was very delayed for me. I took around 20 to around 15 to 20 days I took for my first last lab revisions,
Okay.
which was which included all the subjects, means leaving none, including Optha and ENT and everything, which I couldn't do in the last 10 days. Those were also included because those and these revisions were very fast, not like reading them for the first time or so, because
Okay.
you know what is there in the copy, but you have marked things which you have made a mistake or you are likely to make mistake because those are vulnerable. So you put specific regard in those, but in the last 10 to 14 days, I would say 10 days is a soft spot because that's the ideal time, I think, to revise as much as possible, which is needed for the exam. So in the last 10 days, I gave around equal time to the heavy subjects, that is the final year subjects, surgery, ops, and including the microbiome and pharma, which are very volatile. Those have to be revised in the 10 days as thoroughly as possible because questions come from side effects, questions come from mixing those drugs and what will be the effect. So you cannot leave those things which are not very logical to you, or
Okay.
sometimes they are fact based. So you put specific regard on those in the last 10 days.
Okay.
I specifically relied on reviewing the entire notebook or whatever subject it is, especially for microbiology, biochemistry, and
Okay.
pharmacology in the last 3 days because it
Okay.
helps to keep the things in mind fresh for the exam.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Rahul, you have spoken of a lot of things on the Marrow app. I can get you're a very thorough user of the app. You've spoken of bookmarks, custom modules, INI mocks, GTs. Tell me, what is the your favorite feature on the Marrow app that you have used the most, that you love the most, and that help you in your preparation?
It will be custom module. It's an
Custom
easy choice
modules.
for me. Yes, sir. And because it helped me in the last 10 days to
Okay.
keep the touch between the past year questions as well as the new questions as well. So I would say instead of going for the all the modules of the respective subjects, it helped me keep in touch with all the subjects, but in a short time and in a very concise way, so that I can be touched with either the easy questions, the moderate, as well as the hard questions. So it will be the modules for me.
So custom modules is your favorite feature on the Marrow app, Dr. Rahul is saying. Dr. Rahul, we have spoken a lot about how you used the Q bank, how you used to give and assess the GTs, how you planned your revisions. Now let me come to the question of why. Tell me, why would you recommend preparing with Marrow to your juniors who are going to go ahead for the next 1 year, 1.5 year to and prepare for these exams? Why would you recommend them to go with Marrow, and what competitive edge would that give them when they prepare for these exams?
One would be the regularly spaced GTs as is required for the exams, and the frequency also increases as we proceed towards the deadline. That
Mhm.
is one point, and there is the rather reliable source of information for almost all the subjects if I found and I solved. So I guess yes, these 2 points are very important because revision and having the right information available to you as and when you want it, be it in the
Right.
bus, be it in the metro, be it on the classes. So that, yeah, that helps to have a because I used to solve it in the mobile phone, so
Okay.
anyone can solve it anywhere they want. So that is
Right.
the big plus point of this platform. They can avail that and use it whenever and wherever they want. So that comes in handy.
Right, right. That's great. Now that you have, achieved this particular big achievement of this great rank, tell me, what advice would you give to your juniors going ahead? So there are two groups of students that I'm asking you specifically about. One, let us start with students who have appeared for this INI set exam, but probably have not done very well in this particular exam. Now they are looking up to the upcoming NEET exam. What advice would you like to give them?
To them, I would say this was the last standard exam they have given on an official basis. So there's an idea about the All India status to them. They know their mistakes already, I hope, because there is 3 months left and they have a lot to revise. So to them, I would say revise and revise because things are going to be the same. It's just a level of difficulty that is going to decide what rank they will get. So that cannot be helped in any other way rather than revising the same thing. Whatever,
Right.
however boring that might be, I understand, but that's the key to. There is no other shortcut to it.
Okay. And Dr. Rahul, there's another set of students who is just starting in their journey to prepare. They might appear for the NEET next year, or probably the next year the exam would be conducted one after that. So those who are in the, say, the first few months of their preparation, right, and they are starting to use this particular platform, what advice would you want to give these students at the start of their journey?
By start, I assume you are either in the first year or second year because
Right,
students nowadays are starting to
right,
prepare from
right,
very
right,
early.
right,
To them, I would say do not give much fuss about the INI or the NEET PG at present. Study the standard books as is prescribed in the council or whatever college you might be, because the building concepts is important right now, rather than concising them and shortening the content to a bare minimum. Because whatever and whichever book they might read, be it Robbins in the second years or be it Lippincott, whatever, somewhere even the practicals do come in the exam, which cannot be everything cannot be read just because you are preparing for a PG. So certain things are there which comes with the schedule and with the MBBS curriculum. You have to embrace that and enjoy it while you can, because there is time for preparation in the final year and the internship year.
right,
But
right,
these books, you cannot read them in the last 1 year or 2 years. So whenever
right,
you get time, you have 3 subjects or 4 subjects per year. Try
right,
to give sincere read about that books, whatever is prescribed. That would be my advice to them. And for final years, I would say you have a big task of getting a prof exams also.
right,
So don't take much tension about that. Give your profs good jolt and preparation, but after or during the internship, you yes, you give a more serious thought about the first to third years because they are bit of a backhand by the end of the final year or the final profs. So they need to be revised, and the final years will be tough, prepared or well prepared by the end of final year or the beginning of the internship. But those first 3 years curriculum you have to revisit once, and if you are right on track and you follow them the resources sincerely, you will be able to do that, and you will not be able to realize when you have done that Actually, that's right.
Right, right. Dr. Rahul, it has been such an insightful discussion with you where we've learned, many new things about how you can revise volatile topics in the last 1 week as close to the exam as possible, how you could use custom modules, how you used to get up in the morning and people usually crave for a cup of coffee to get that shot, but you used to solve 50 MCQs, right, as a stimulus and then get on track to, your routine studies. I mean, this is just wonderful. And all these seem like small things, right? These small things have really played a very, very important part in these absolute success that you have achieved, right? Any parting message that you want to give to our students preparing with the Marrow app for the next few months?
I would rather give a very not very much related to the preparation, but I would say keep a balance between your personal life and this preparation phase, because this preparation phase will last you 6 months or 1 year or so. But your personal life does take a backward during this time, which is a very negative impact on the long run. So have a good balance between your preparation and your personal life, because that is going to help you cope with the stress of the exam and help you in the exam as well. So that will be my message to all the juniors and those who are preparing.
That's absolutely fantastic. Dr. Rahul, you have such a great rank. Tell me, what branch are you going to select and what branch do you want to pursue a postgraduate career in? Have you thought
I
about it?
have not yet made a full decision on that yet, but I am hovering between medicine or radiology at present.
Oh,
I will.
that's great. So definitely I would push you more towards radiology. That's my branch. But on a lighter note, great, great, great. You are in a position, you have a rank that you have the choice of selecting your dream branch in a dream institute. All credit goes to your hard work and all these smart work techniques that you've put to use along with the Marrow app. So thank you very much, Dr. Rahul. I am sure our students will benefit greatly from whatever insights that you have shared with us. Well, friends, I hope you found this discussion helpful. Remember that setbacks and temporary failures is not actually the end, it is actually success in progress. You need to work on it, you need to work on it, you need to keep on working on it, and ultimately, you would get that dream rank, that you have been wanting for so long. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.